Hello and welcome to Desert Rat Fiber Arts. I'm Desert Rat, but you can call me Lloyd. Okay, today I want to teach you how to make a folded fabric star. I think they are also called Norwegian stars. Um, this is not an original idea. I did find it on a website, which I will leave a link to below. I did kind of make my own tweaks to her pattern, but just for something that I thought worked better for me. But her instructions are fairly good, so please check out her website and give her a big thumbs up and a thank you for coming up with this idea in the first place. I know other people have done this type of video as well, but I want to share it with you anyways. So this is made out of fabric. This is just simple cotton. This is actually from a fat quarter that I purchased at Walmart. So you don't need expensive quilter's cotton to do this. You don't need anything. You don't need to break the bank to make these. They're fairly inexpensive to do. So everything here came from that, including the ribbon, which came wrapped around the bundle of fat quarters that I bought. So let's get started. So what you need, of course, is your fat quarters. Now here I have one left of the fat quarter. Let me go ahead and show you. This is the purple. And of course, if you don't know what a fat quarter is, it is a quarter of a yard of cloth, but it is cut, instead of being at 9 inches by width of fabric, it is 18 inches by half the width of fabric. So usually 18 by 21 or 22. So what I did was I took my fat quarter and I ironed them out, and then I evened up the edges. Used my rotary cutter. You go through the process of evening out so it's nice and square. And then along the bottom of my fat quarter, I cut off 3.5-inch strip here by width of fabric. Set that aside. And then the rest of this I cut into 3.5 by 13-inch strips. So I think after I cut it off, they were 3.5 by 14, but I trimmed those down afterwards. So out of one sheet of out of one fat quarter, I was able to cut 7 strips out of it. So the 4 fat quarters I needed, 28 strips in total. So that'll make 7 stars. This pack had 5 fat quarters in it, so you probably could have done that and rotated the 5th color in there as well and get a few more stars out of it. But I just decided to go with the 4 colors in mine. So what else will you need? You're going to need, of course, some ribbon. This was the ribbon that was wrapped around a fat quarter. Now, again, the ribbon's not absolutely necessary unless you want to make a hanger. If you don't want to make a hanger for it, then that's not necessary, as well as the darning needle or the yarn needle. I got a pair of small scissors that I'm using. I've got some fabric strips. These are the strips. These are 3.5 inches by 13 inches to make our stars with. The 4 colors. I got pink, teal, yellow, and blue. You will definitely need an iron. I've got just my little tiny iron here that I'm going to be using. I'm just doing this with dry heat. I'm not using steam on it. Other things that you should have like a binder clip or a what are these, wonder clip of some sort. These are generic wonder clips, sorry. What's helpful as well is something that you'll need to poke your ends in when you're folding. I used a seam turner or a point turner, but you could use a knitting needle or something like that that's not sharp, that you're not going to cut through your fabric. And then a tailor clapper is not necessary, but it is helpful when ironing and getting nice even seams when you iron. So let me get this put aside. Now I have already ironed 3 of the strips, so we're just going to iron 1 just to show you how to go about doing that. So I've got my strips here. I've got my yellow, my blue, and my teal. And essentially you're just going to make these into how you would for like a bias strip. So we're going to take our strip of fabric. They're 3.5 inch wide by 13 inch long, and we're going to fold it and turn it face down, and we're going to fold wrong sides together. Let me get my iron heated up first. Should have done that a moment ago. And then you're going to fold it along the edge there. Make sure it lines up as best as you can. Oh, one other thing. And where do I have it here? I do. If you want to, maybe some heat and bond, hem adhesive, 3/4 inch. You could put it on the inside here when we fold it in to help seal it a bit and keep it from fraying a bit. You could also use some like fray check or something like that along the edges if you're worried about them fraying too much. But neither one is an absolute necessity. So I'll be right back as soon as my iron is heated up. Okay, so my iron is nice and hot now. I've got it turned all the way up, and I'm just doing a dry iron. You could use some steam if you wanted to, but do be wary that it could warp your fabric or distort it a little bit. So I'm just doing a dry heat, and I'm going to press my seam. I'm just going to press down on it like this. And then I'm going to move it forward a little bit. I'm going to put my tailor clapper on the back end of this to help set that seam. Again, not necessary, but nice to have. Move this along here. Move my tailor clapper up a bit. Press it for a few seconds. Okay, put my iron aside. Put my clapper on the end of my seam here and let it set for a moment. And this will give you a nice crisp edge here. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our seam and our fabric, and we're going to open it up, and we're going to fold in our edges to meet in the center like this. And then we're going to press our seam this way. Few seconds, and I'll put my clapper on behind it. I'm trying not to go over my center seam, but don't worry about it if you do. You're just gonna iron over it afterwards anyway, so it just gives us a nice starting point. All the way across. Put my clapper on there and let that sit for a moment. If you got lots of threads coming off of your fabric, if it's fraying, again, you might want to use some fray check or the heat and bond, which you could lay across the middle here when you do these sides and hold it in. Put a strip of it going down the middle of this to hold them together, prevent some of the fraying. The ends are still going to fray a little bit, but you could use some fray check on that if you got that. I wouldn't worry about it too much, but you can if you want to. So again, we're just going to press our seams along here, set the iron down, let it do its thing. Give it a moment, move it along, move my clapper up. Okay, and do the last bit of my seam, let it set for a moment. Okay, now we're going to take and we're going to put fold it in half again, and we're just going to press our seams one more time. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Move that along, put our clapper on there. If you don't have a clapper, but you got like a 2x4 or something like that, or a short length of one, you could use that in its place. It's just a big chunk of wood. It's really all the clapper is. They're fairly inexpensive. I think this one was like $6 or $8 off of Amazon, so they're not going to break the bank if you do decide to buy one. They are nice for pressing your seams and getting nice crisp seams. If you're doing quilting, they can help with those fussy 1/4 inch seams that you got on the inside wanting to go everywhere. You press it down and it'll help hold it in place. Alright, so there we go. Our seams are pressed. We can turn off our iron, unplug it. We've got all 4 of our strips done. Of course, you're probably going to want to do all your strips at the same time. Several more to go, but I'm just going to do the one to give this demo to you. So let me get my area cleaned up, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we have our pieces ready to go. I'm going to start with this pink one, and I want to fold this over so that we got about 1.5 inches to 2 inches here on my side facing up, and I want my outside edges pointing up. Now I'm going to take my next color and I'm going to do the same thing. I want, in this case, I'm going to turn it this way. Trying to remember. I'm going to fold it up this way with about 1.5 inches to 2 inches left open, and I want my open sides pointing to my left. And this is going to go inside of the pink one. Next color. Same thing. We're going to fold this over 1.5 inches to 2 inches open on the bottom. And this one's going to go, the pink is going to go inside the yellow like this. And again, our open side is going to be to our right. So you want your open side always on the outside. And then we're going to do the same thing with our teal. Okay, I need to flip it over. Now, it doesn't really matter that which side is pointing out. It just, I find it a little bit cleaner looking if your open edges are on the outside, because they will be folded under, so they will actually get turned around. So now we're going to take our yellow and we're going to put it inside the teal like this. And then we're going to take our legs of our teal and we're going to tuck them inside our blue like this. And then we're going to start pulling this together. Like that, until you got kind of a woven square in your center. Alright, the next thing you want to do is you want to flip this over. And then we're going to take our edges and we're going to fold them. We're going to take this top one and we're going to fold it over. We're going to do the same for, we can rotate it if you want to. Take your teal, fold it over, rotate it, take your yellow, fold it over, turn it, rotate it, take your red or pink or whatever color it is you have. I'm going to fold it over, but I want to tuck it into our blue here. Like that. And then we're going to kind of snug it up. And you want to try to get it so that your ends here are the same length. Now if they're off a little bit, you can adjust it, pull this a little bit and then tug it back around or whatever until you can get them evened up. All right, so the next point we're going to be doing are the points. Now, if you look at the star here, you can see, if we kind of lift it up a little bit, we have, this one is forward towards the yellow, and this one is wrapped over the yellow. So this one is in the back. We want to work with this one in the back. So we're going to take our strip and we're going to fold it underneath to a 45-degree angle like this. And then we're going to take and we're going to fold it back over top like this. So now our open ends are on the inside here, and we've got a 90-degree triangle, or part of a flying goose if you're into quilting. And then we're going to take and we're going to get our clip ready. We're going to fold this in half like this. And then we're going to put our clip, you can put it on the tip here if you want to. I prefer it on the long side like this. And then you're going to take whatever you're using and you're going to take this end of the fabric and you're just going to tuck it underneath in your opening here. So you can kind of open it up if you want to. And it might be a little finicky, but you just got to tuck it in there best that you can. So once that end is tucked in, you have your first point of your star. Now make sure that your star points in so that the tip is on the outside, and so because when this one gets done, it's going to be pointing like this. So you want it so that you got the V towards the center of your block here. So I'm going to take and I'm going to turn this counterclockwise, and we're going to do the same thing with our next strip on the right. We're going to fold it under like this so that you got your 45-degree angle here. Then you're going to take and fold it over again forward to make your 90-degree triangle or your flying goose. Fold it in half forward like this. Put your clip on. There you go. And then you're going to tuck this end in. And there we have it. Our next point is done. So, rinse and repeat. We're going to take and we're going to rotate counterclockwise. And if you don't like these tips, you can always pull that out and redo it. So, I don't like this, so if I want to pull this back out, I can fix the fold once again. Fold it back over. Make sure your tip looks good the way you want it to. Put your clip on and tuck it back in. Like that. Tighten everything up again. There we go. That looks much better to me. Back we go with our teal. So we're going to turn our fabric this way, counterclockwise. Tip looks okay. Same thing, under to form 45-degree angle, over to form another 45-degree angle, so it gives us our 90-degree triangle here. I'm sorry, is that 90 degree? Well, it's 45. Well, whatever it is, when you fold it in half, then you get your 90 degree or your corner to corner or your your half square triangle. Hold this and clip and tuck. Remove your clip. Rotate your work. That blue is still acting funky on me. It's okay. And we're going to do our yellow. Same thing. Under, over, over, clip, and tuck. And we got our first side done. Next step is to take and flip it over. And as you can see now, we've got the bulkier side towards the front. So we're just going to do the same thing with the other half. Under, over, and over. Clip, and tuck. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and repeat this with the other three, and I'll be right back with you. Also, if you want to, take your scissors and nip off any fraying that might occur along the way. Okay, once you got all your points turned in, your star is basically done. Now, if you don't like how some of this looks, you can always adjust it by, tugging on your fabric a little bit, maybe tightening it up a little bit more, tucking in your points a little bit better. If it's not great, you can always kind of easily just fix it, refold, retuck. I don't know if starching the fabric is going to help any with this, with trying to keep your edges straight and whatnot. You can see they're kind of coming apart. This one wasn't ironed as well as it could be, but you can always adjust it afterwards and get it to where you like it and you're happy with it, and maybe this is good enough. I'm gonna fix this one real quick just because it came apart on me. Tuck it in and retuck it. There we go. So I'm going to call this one good enough. Whoever I give this to, or if I'm using it on my own tree, I think I would be happy with it. I'm not going to be that picky about it myself. Do as you wish. If it bothers you, take it apart, fix it, redo it. Take your scissors, snip off any fraying that you got. Again, you can do whatever you want to. If you want to do fray check on it first, to keep the edges from fraying, that's good. If you want to use this heat and bond seam stuff to hold it together a little better, you can. It's yours to do with as you want. So I think I'm good with this. And then I'm going to show you the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to put a ribbon on it so that we can hang it from our tree. I've got some ribbon here. I'm just going to cut maybe 8 to 10 inches of this. Well, let's see, what do I got here? Whatever is left of this one. Just going to cut it in half. One of those. And then I'm going to put it onto a yarn needle. Make sure you got one with a wide enough hole that your ribbon's going to go through there. So then you just kind of pick, like I'm going to come under this teal one here and out the other side like that. Then I'm going to come through the center like this, and then I'm going to come back up underneath this side of the teal like that, pull it taut, and there my ribbon is attached. Now if you want to, you could put some like beads on here if you want to add some color to it. Maybe put another ribbon beneath it and hang a bell from it. Whatever you want to do. This is your ornament. Make them as pretty as you want. I'm just going to tie the end of this here like this. And voila, I have a new Christmas star ornament to go with the other one that I've got here. Now, you could use different size strips. If you were to say use a 4.5 inch strip, the length of your fabric is going to have to be longer than 13 inches. If you're using like jelly rolls, you're 2.5 inch. The 13 inches is probably fine. You may be even able to go down to 12 inches. Play with it and see what you got. You could also probably, let me see if I got it here, maybe use ribbon. Instead of using the fabric, use like a 3/4 inch ribbon or 1 inch ribbon or whatever. 4 of those together. You could fold it the same. You don't have to do the whole making it, doing like a binding tape with it. Just fold it over and do the same process and then make it out of ribbon instead of out of cloth. So however you want to do it, it's yours to enjoy. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Would love to see any of them that you've created yourself, if possible. Tell me what you think. So until next time, this is Desert Rat. Happy crafting.